What's up, everybody? Hops Geek News with another issue of some news, some other things. We are talking today some news in addition to Wonder Woman 84, who just recently came out. I am one of your two co-hosts. I am Mash, and alongside me is the Hoppy Mommy. How are you doing this fine, lovely evening?
I am doing lovely as the evening is. Just cracked open a beer you sent me from Barbarian Brewing called Ragnarok. It is a red peach sour and it is super tart and quite delicious. But whew, man, every sip it'll make your lips quench. And looking at your expression from the beer you're drinking, it's knocking your socks off.
Yeah. So, first of all, if you have found us, then yay, you're here. Second of all, if you are looking for us and you're watching us happen to be on YouTube or anything, search Hops News on any streaming platform. Like us, subscribe, share. That's how the
Love
podcast
us.
grows. Just love us, please, because my mom never actually loved me. I'm adopted.
Oh,
And speaking of, yeah, what you just mentioned is I'm drinking also Barbarian. However, this one is Maple Bar Stout. And this is a
ooh,
Boise, Idaho brewery. They do a lot of great things. They're known for they're probably the one brewery that really kind of what I always talk about is they try new things. And so they always bring a lot of different flavors, a lot of different styles, a lot of different beers. Whereas a lot of the other Boise breweries are play it safe. So this Maple Bar Stout is 10%, and it's in a bomber, 500 milliliters, of course, and it's pretty stout. I mean, it smells like maple, just like last week's Funky Buddha smelled like maple. However, this one kind of kicks you in the ass at the end. It's delicious. I
ah.
like it. I'll probably get you this one next, and then I'll drink the Ragnarok, and we'll kind of compare beers. But yeah, this one's good. A lot of their beers are tart. They have a lot of flavor to them, I think.
So how does this one compare to the Funky Buddha one?
Oh, I mean, Funky Buddha, that one was the best. I cannot tell you enough how much the Funky Buddha really just tasted like maple syrup. Whereas this one does have a maple syrup aftertaste, but it's a little bitter. So you get like the maple syrup smell,
So
you
it's
get
more
a little,
stouty
yeah,
because the
it's
maple bacon, the Funky Buddha is a porter, which I feel like porters tend to be a bit lighter.
yeah, for sure. Porters are a little lighter, a little smokier, whereas stouts, they kind of have more flavor at times, but they also have that bitterness in the back end. And so this one has a lot of bitterness, but not in a bad way. It's really
Right.
delicious. And it has a lot of the maple tones that I really like, because which is why I bought it, because if it's maple, I'm gonna buy it. And so we chose Barbarian tonight because we are talking Wonder Woman 84 that recently just released. And we're also going to talk some other things such as news, where I have Disney Plus's most streamed. I've got some Flash news. Hoppy has some Coming to America, Wonder Woman 3, Disney Plus, Cobra Kai, Creed, Netflix, Cruella DeVille, and Ninkasi Brewing has some news in there.
Yes.
So we'll go ahead and get started.
I just want to
What?
show this for anybody. Sorry, real quick. For
Oh,
anybody who's on the
wow.
YouTube, that is a dark, dark
That
sour.
is. So,
Yeah.
real quick, if anybody's on YouTube, you can kind of see it. That looks almost like cranberry juice with how dark it is.
It
How
kind
is
of
it?
does. It's very good, but it is like super puckery sour. So it's like
Yeah.
every sip, I'm like, it's like a Sour Patch Kid, but it's good.
That's probably like I can't wait for like you and Josh and the family to possibly come out here and visit at any point, because that's like I was telling you before, them and Western Collective are the two places I have. They're like the must go tos for different reasons.
Right.
And Barbarian, they have 20 something beers on tap. Each one is a different flavor. They have
Oh,
such an array of flavors that that's the one tap room that we would have to go to, because they have
right.
everything. Like if you want sweet, they got it. A traditional lager, a traditional pilsner, they have it. A stout, they have that. A bourbon barrel aged, they have that as well.
And
And
everything's better on tap, man. Everything
oh,
really is.
absolutely. And their tap
I
room is
miss
so.
drinking beer on tap.
I do too. I that's my 2021 resolution, is to maybe drink more beers on tap in places. And it's kind of harder because when the wife and I have time off it's during the day, so I don't want to drink and then go pick my kids up at school. And I'm like,
Right.
hey guys, how's it going?
Uh,
And then my friends, they're all like, I don't know, Bud Light drinkers. So I'm like the only one that's into the craft beer, so to speak. And so it's harder to do that. And then you got to go to Boise, which is an hour away. So you got to figure out how to get there and back if you drink too much.
right. Yeah, that's got to be an expensive Uber ride. So I've
Yeah.
been
Oh, yeah.
fortunate that a lot of my friends are into craft beer. Even the ones that still drink Bud Light will still drink good beer. Been very fortunate. See, we're not all Florida men. We drink good beer.
They
All right, so
do
let's.
drink good beer once in a while. Yes.
My friends do. But yeah,
Your
even my
friends
friends
do.
that drink shitty beer drink good
Well,
beer.
I will say to this that I do have a few friends and then a few older guys, excuse me,
You
who
have a couple friends, at least one friend that's in the Hops News family, which means they're a Patreon.
well,
And
they
they
all live in
clearly drink good
Boston.
beer. Oh,
My
well, I
my
guess
So we
by
have my
default you drink
heterosexual
good
life
beer.
mate Josh. He's in Vegas. Jeff and Robbie are back home in Boston. But I do have a couple people out here who are getting into that side of beer. And so they ask, like, hey, beer? Is this a good beer? And well, let's go out to a brewery sometime. So I just haven't had time. And so I do have a few people. And I'm gonna get out there. That's my 21 resolution. We're getting out there. I'm
Good
spreading the
one.
craft beer love.
Spread the news. So we need to start with our we're not experts. Did you fuck anything up last week?
I don't think I did. Did I? If anybody,
I don't
I
know.
don't
I
think I
don't think you
did.
did.
I don't think I did. If anybody who happens to listen to this thinks I did, now let me know. But, I'm pretty much amazing at what I do. And
It's
so
only me who consistently fucks up.
I'm
So, but
like the best. Yes.
the best
I
suit.
walk
Yeah,
on
we don't use
water.
those words in our house. We don't say the best or the worst. You're just not the best.
You're average. You're just
Right.
not the best today.
No, it's a saying in our house. My husband, I'll be like, oh, you can't put this in the dishwasher. And he'd be like, I know, I'm the worst. And I'm like, you're not the worst. You're just not the best. So it's like a saying in our house. You're not the best.
You're something.
But apparently, MASH is the best. So we're not
Walk on
experts.
water, everybody.
All right, Jesus. So, last week we did our best of, but somehow, despite the fact that we do pre-plan these episodes, we don't just completely wing it. Doom Patrol was not mentioned, but it's been mentioned many times on this show before. And
I do love Doom Patrol.
Umbrella Academy season 2 wasn't
I
mentioned.
haven't watched Umbrella. I think that's why I haven't seen
Okay, so
Umbrella
then
Academy
that I
season
have
2.
seen 2.
Oh God, I'm
I
kind of
really
drunk. I'm trying to say
Okay.
Umbrella.
So you're gonna be like me on our Harry Potter episode. So I got this. You're
Yes.
fine. Umbrella Academy 2, I thought was much better than the first one. I really and truly enjoyed it. I'm not going to go into it, but if you want to hear more about the comic book, the background, and even the show, Hop Heroes did an episode on it for season 1 and season 2. So check them out. They broke it down great. JR knows the comic inside and out, and it was awesome. So that should have been
Yes.
mentioned in our 2020. And Ozark season 3 should have gotten an honorable mention, which it did not. It is coming back. There were rumors that Netflix canceled it with that cliffhanger, but it is coming back. So if you like Jason Bateman and
I
money
haven't
laundering,
seen a single episode.
have you seen Arrested Development?
Oh hell yeah! I love Arrested
Okay.
Development. I blew
So
myself.
I personally feel like Ozark is Arrested Development, but with serious shit going on. And because Jason Bateman in
Oh,
Ozark, so Ozark is about drug selling and money laundering, and they're living in the Ozarks. I'm not going to ruin anything for anybody who wants to see it. It's on Netflix, all 3 seasons, and season 4 is coming out next year. But the way he acts, it's still like he's the smartest one in the
he's the
room.
Bluth.
But it's maybe not the smartest one is actually a bad example. He's the one that sees things in the most realistic, because like you're dealing with like a mob cartel now. So he's the one that's thinking the most rationally and the most normal, even if it's not necessarily the most intelligent. So it's still like Arrested Development. He's just dealing with mobsters and intelligent, crazy people mixed in with Ozark natives. And
Huh.
yeah, it's still Arrested Development. It just has a more intellectual plot. That's
Well,
my theory.
interesting. So that I feel like there's some shows that are like in an alternate universe. They also are part of the same universe in certain ways. So I do love Arrested Development. I just have never seen Ozark.
Well, actually, my husband Josh got into Ozark, and so he's the one that got me into it. I love both Arrested Development and well, I love Arrested Development. I like Ozark. I'll leave it. I love Jason Bateman. He's hilarious. Even when he's being serious,
He
he's
is.
hilarious.
I do. He's great. And there's this one, I can't remember the name of it, where there's like this guy that tracks them down. And I like Jason Bateman in anything he's in. He's great.
Yeah.
He's a really phenomenal actor.
Even when he's in shitty movies, like the one with Jennifer Aniston where he accidentally knocked her up or something. But still, The
Wait,
Switch.
that was it.
I think it was The Switch.
I don't know. Was it?
I think it was.
Okay.
It was
I'll take
like
your word for it.
okay, yeah, we'll look into that and discuss that later or next week. I think it was The Switch. Okay, so what have you read or watched this week?
Ooh, I got lots of stuff actually. So I have been watching obviously Wonder Woman. I've restarted the Clone Wars because we need to have a Star Wars anthology episode series in which we talk about the Clone War. We talk about like the TV shows, the episodes. I bust my nut over Star Wars so hard. So we got to have a Star Wars talk. And then I haven't watched, I've been playing Spider Man Miles Morales. That game is super fun. And it's a continuation of the first Spider Man game. I'm a peasant. I have PlayStation 4. I haven't got a PlayStation 5 yet, but one day I will.
Can you buy
Anyways,
them?
well, I mean, I guess if you want to pay $1,000, I'm still waiting for Sony to like re-release some PlayStations for a brother.
Oh, so
But
I thought they were just like sold out already.
well, they are all pretty much sold out. And basically, if you suck a dick on the side, you can pretty much get a PlayStation 5 these days. I'm not there yet.
Oh.
I will get a PlayStation 5 at some point. However,
right, Wayne, you will be mine. Oh, yes.
oh, I have a friend calling me right now. It's kind of funny.
Matt might not even understand that comment. What's that?
I have a friend who's calling me right now. I'll have to shoot him a text. Anyways, I've also read Darth Vader 8 and I've watched Soul. Soul is a really good Disney movie.
Yes,
if you haven't
I
watched
also
Soul, I
watched
suggest
Soul.
watching it because it really hit me in the feels in certain ways. What have
See-
you? What?
Okay, so obviously Wonder Woman we'll talk about later. So I'm going to talk. Well, I watched The Grinch on Christmas night because we're filming this on. It's still 2020 while we're.
It is. God, this year never ends.
So I also watched Soul, and I gotta say there was no tragedy. It was a good movie, but there was
You're
no
right,
like
there
legit
wasn't.
feels. No, nobody died. Simba didn't curl up next to his dying, dead, father. Like there was no parents that died.
Well, he kind of dies, sort of.
But okay, well, I don't want to say anymore because I don't want to spoil it. So Soul did come out on Disney Plus on Christmas Day, and it's Jamie Foxx and it's Tina Fey, and apparently
Wait, Jamie Foxx? That's who it is? How did I not know this?
I don't know, but the other one's Tina Fey. So they allowed them to like a lot of it's ad libbed. Like they just kind of let them play around and come up with a lot of their lines, which makes sense because they're both hilarious. Other than when Jamie Foxx is Electro, but we're giving him another chance apparently.
So wait till we get to Wonder Woman.
Yeah, right.
Man.
But I do want to mention that there was an Easter egg to Jack Kirby in the movie. Anybody who doesn't know who Jack Kirby is, well, you shouldn't be listening to this then. So there was a scene where she has all the name tag stickers, the Tina Fey character of all the historical figures that tried to influence her, and Jack Kirby's name is up there, which is a beautiful nod, but also an insult because why couldn't Jack Kirby help her? But well, of course he's dead. They're all dead. They're historical figures.
God damn it, we're not spoiling anything. Yes.
So that we probably confused you more.
Movie.
So
Go
it
ahead
probably
and watch
didn't spoil
Soul,
anything. It was a very good movie. Yes, it was very
Pixar's
enjoyable.
Best, but it does hit the feels.
Well, Pixar's best is Toy Story and always will be.
Oh, well, absolutely.
My dad was so funny. So I was at my dad's on Christmas and he's like, what were you and Matt calling each other on that one Geek episode? And it took me a second. I'm like, are you talking about Uncultured Swine? And he's like, yes, that's it. And then he's like, it reminded me of that SNL skit from years ago. You ignorance, or Jane, you ignorant slut. And I'm like, yeah, that's the same.
I'm Mrs. Nesbit.
I'm Mrs. Nesbit. Okay.
I never realized Buzz was drunk during that time. Or you supposed to be?
Well, yeah, I
Which
post, or actually, that was in
you
my story
did.
recently.
You posted about this. You did.
Yes, my daughter
You
has a Buzz
did.
Lego, and I stole it and stuck it on my bar with a mini beer, and then she
Which
took
didn't
it
even fit in
back.
his hand.
No, it didn't. It's not. I bought that. So I bought a teeny tiny mini beer on
Never
Etsy,
buy any
thinking
alcohol.
that it
Nope,
would
that's your
fit a
first
lot of.
mistake.
I know. Well, apparently, okay. So I have a habit of not reading things before I buy them. So we needed a can of pumpkin puree for Thanksgiving to make pumpkin pie, and the grocery store was out of them. So I ordered one on Amazon. I'm like, damn, $8 for a can of pumpkin puree, whatever. It's Thanksgiving. I ordered a paint can of pumpkin puree and did not realize, which my daughter found
What?
hilarious.
Hold on, you bought a paint can?
I did. Well, it was full of pumpkin puree, but it arrived and everybody's like, what the hell is this? I'm like, I don't know. What is
Wait,
it?
so it was legit pumpkin puree just in a paint can?
Yep.
Now hold on. Let's talk about this because there's a lot I can do with that.
Well, no, my daughter made she made a pumpkin pie, which is all we needed it for. And then
Oh,
she made a bunch
sweet.
of
I'm still
pumpkin
waiting for
muffins.
mine.
And then what was the other thing? I've bought quite a few things. I've been yelled at by my daughter that I need to start reading things. Oh, I bought a pecan pie at Target.com to go pick up. And when the pecan pie came home, it was like this big. And for those of you listening, it was like, I don't
This is
know,
a
3 inches
mini
wide,
pie.
if that.
Oh
So
no.
I have a tendency to not read things. I was talking about the beer I bought on Etsy. So I bought a teeny tiny beer on Etsy, thinking that because I saw somebody was posting pictures of toys and the toys were holding beer, and I'm like, I want a toy size
I
beer for my
need
beer
one of
pictures.
those.
So I went to Etsy, and of course I searched miniature beer and found one. But I guess it was made for like a to put on a charm bracelet or
It
some shit
wasn't
because it's
made for you.
no, it's I don't. I mean, where the hell is it? Oh, here it is. So
Oh
it
no.
has a little hole in it, and it's honestly, it's like the size. It's a good size for little Legos, but they can't wrap their hand around it. I do believe there are Lego beers that because I've seen people
Oh, I'm
post
gonna find them. Well, you can get
Legos
custom
holding beers.
minifigures. Like people make their own minifigures and have them like all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm sure there is.
Yeah,
I'm moving into that territory because I have no more space for all of my Legos. I am out of space for my Legos.
yeah. I need to add more shelves or something to my bar because I'm running out of for space in
I have
general.
no space. What am I gonna do?
Space.
I
All right,
gotta start doing bows.
we
But
need to move along.
we are here because we have news. Well, we're not here just for the
News,
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 but we
news.
can be, and we're here with the news. So, according to Backstage.com, The Flash, who's on its 17th director, is going to be filming in April in the UK. Uh, However, I don't think that Ray Fisher's Cyborg is going to be a part of that because he just keeps wildly throwing accusations out to literally everybody in Warner Brothers. He's
Oh
now moved on to
no.
saying Walter Hamada has also helped enable whatever was going on. Just read into the Ray Fisher thing. It's exhausting at this point. At one point, yes, I do believe that Ray Fisher and whomever else on Justice League, they've come out and said it, has had some things discriminated against them. But at this point, he's just wildly throwing things out and he's going to find himself out of a job here soon, maybe. But who am I to say? I am just a middle aged man sitting here at a computer talking.
I don't think you're middle aged yet.
I'm
Maybe if
middle
it were
aged. I
like
feel middle aged.
1919.
I feel middle aged.
He's 30, folks. He's
I'm
30.
30. I'm middle aged. I'm past my prime. Anyways, the main point is The Flash will start filming here soon. And I'm excited because this movie has gone through so many directors. Just give me The Flash. Ezra Miller's still attached.
Fastest man alive.
And I can't wait. It's supposed to be a Flashpoint storyline. So hopefully we get it. However,
I mean, they did a good job with the TV show with Flashpoint.
well, yeah, they did, but I still have to watch that final season, the latest season. I haven't watched it yet of the Flash TV show.
I know, but the was it Crisis on Infinite Worlds was really good this season.
Haven't watched that yet either. Man, I don't know
And
what
then you get
happened.
to
I
see
just
Ezra
fell off.
Miller.
And I'm sitting here on the couch today, like, what should I rewatch? And I'm over here rewatching Fresh Prince of Bel Air on HBO Max. What I could be watching, Legends
Supernatural.
of Tomorrow, no, Flash, or
Oh,
Arrow.
you're gonna watch Supernatural. You're gonna do it.
Eventually.
Well, my friend Tracy just finished it, so she texted my
Wow,
friend
that was
Ian and
fast. I
I.
feel like she just started it.
She did just
Oh my
start it. She
God.
started it in October and she got through
Benefits and
15
no
seasons
children.
that
Okay.
fast. Right. Well, Ian started it a while ago, and so he finished it. I don't know, like 2 weeks ago. So Tracy was texting us, and Ian's like, "I'm digesting it, and then I'm going to restart it." And I'm like, "Yes, that's what you do. That's how good of a show it is, even though it's 15 seasons. You digest it, and then you rewatch it, and it's
No,
better the second
that's a
time."
lot of commitment. A lot of commitment.
I gotta say, so I'm watching Cobra Kai now because that's going to be our episode next week.
Oh yeah.
And though, but when at night when I go to lay down, I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna put on Supernatural. Oh, I have to watch Cobra Kai.
But then I fall
That's
asleep.
how good Supernatural is.
I don't
Cobra Kai
watch.
is good,
I have a
but I'm
TV
gonna
in my
say
room, but I actually never fall asleep watching it. It's weird.
I always fall asleep watching the TV because my mom never let me fall asleep watching TV, so I
I
can't fall
think
asleep in the dark.
TV is like my comfort thing. I would love to fall asleep watching TV. My wife, on the other hand, not so much. So I think that's why I don't do it. Oh goodness. Someone's
That
throwing
was my
dishes in the
child getting
background.
ice. You should be asleep.
Well, speaking of children, what do you think were the Disney Plus most watched movies or TV shows of 2020?
Let's see. And I've glanced at your list, but in our house, the most Disney Plus watched would be Mickey Mouse Clubhouse,
Oh, same here.
Home Alone.
Yep.
What else have we watched the most of on Disney Plus? Mandalorian.
Frozen. Fuck.
And I
Frozen.
would say anything Avengers. Brielle said Guardians of the Galaxy. Anything Marvel. Those are the most watched in our house. Frozen's not a big one in our house. Logan, my 3-year-old, has recently started watching the Olaf and the Lego Frozen, but like they wore the shit out of the first Frozen DVD when it came out.
You're so
And
lucky. My 2-year-old is now like, I have to listen to Frozen in the car. She has an Elsa dress. Everything is Frozen. Elsa, let it go. She sings it. Elsa, Anna, Elsa. Oh my God. But that would be
yeah.
second to probably Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and Mandalorian. Same here. But according to flixpatrol.com, the number 10 most streamed movie is Hamilton. The number 9 is
Ah.
Santa. I feel like some of these are because the holiday season. So, like a lot of people, aka me, who's watched Home Alone and Home Alone 2 about 90 times during the holidays. That's probably why some of these are jumped up in there.
Oh,
But you have
absolutely. Yeah.
Hamilton at number 10. Number 9 is the Santa Claus. Number 8 is Avengers Endgame. I
I
rewatched that
love
movie
Endgame.
just for Portals. Like the Portals scene.
Mm-hmm.
That movie, I rewatched it just for.
I'm kind of surprised it's not Black Panther. Oh, you're so drunk you're hiccuping.
I got the hiccups real quick. Like, holy smokes.
I am kind of surprised though it's not Black Panther.
Yeah, I am too. I figured Endgame would actually be higher, but it's not. Weird.
I think as
New,
more kids watch
number
it,
7 is
maybe.
Mulan, which I
That's
still
because
haven't
it's
seen
new.
Mulan yet. I haven't seen Mulan. Number 6 is
It's all
Home
right.
Alone 2. Number 5 is Toy Story 4. It should be Toy Story 1. You can't beat the OG.
Absolutely.
If you're like, come on, what is wrong with you parents? People who grew up in like the 80s and 90s should be throwing on Toy Story 1 for their children.
You
But
uncultured
you're just bad
swines.
parents. It's okay. We
Jane, you
understand.
ignorant slut.
Someone call CPS. And number 4 is Home Alone.
It's
Number
DCF.
3 is no, it's CPS. I thought. Is it DC?
In
I
Florida,
think.
it's Department of Children and Families.
Listen, call the orphanages. Fill them
It
up
used to
even
be
more.
HRS when I was little.
Well,
I
speaking
don't
of
even know what
somebody
the
who
acronym is for
should
that.
have CPS, DPS, Home Secure, who the fuck?
DCF.
Home Alone's number 4. They left their kid at home alone
Yeah.
while they went to Paris. 3 is Frozen. Number 2 is Frozen 2. Slightly interesting. I found Frozen 1 to be far superior.
How did she let the kid then leave to go back to Central Park to deal with the homeless lady? Like, how did he sneak out? If you had just gotten your kid back, wouldn't he be like sleeping in your bed and you would like not let him go?
Yeah,
And yet this little shit just
what
sneaks out
if you
again.
were going like down on a flight? It's a year later or 2 years at this point. Wouldn't
You'd be
you be
holding
hugging that
his
one child
hand.
like
Yeah.
up against you, like on your face the entire time you're going to
And
the
he's the
airport?
youngest one of all the kids. Yes.
Yeah, the fucking dad just is like, oh, I didn't know my wallet was missing for like 2 days. All right, money bags. Like,
Well,
how do
back
you
then they
not
fed you on
realize?
flights. You didn't have to buy shit on flights. They actually
But
gave you stuff.
nonetheless, like, you would not. Are you kidding me? You wouldn't understand. Like, your
You're right.
ninth
You wouldn't have
child
tipped
is
your
missing.
driver to get to the police station.
Kevin is
Right.
missing. Kevin is missing. And nobody in that line thought that think like, oh no, Kevin is missing. We just have like, all right, you guys are the worst family on earth. I don't know
All right.
what
We
kind
could
of
do a whole
mobs.
episode on how
I don't know
terrible.
what's going on there, but you guys are the worst.
Have you seen
And
the meme though? That's like, what did Kevin's dad do for a living with
Kevin's
like a
dad
picture
was
of the
like
house?
killing people in back alleyways of Chicago. That's definitely what
Well,
that dad
he's
was
in
doing.
so it used to always be like, I just want to know what Kevin's dad did for a living, and like then the actor was in Sopranos, so
I've
it's
never
like
seen the
that's what
show.
Kevin's. You've
Yeah,
never seen
well, I haven't,
Sopranos?
but it makes
Oh
sense
my
that Kevin's
goodness!
dad was a fucking mob boss, and then
No, he
you
was
have
not a
his.
mob boss. Oh
No,
my
he's a
god,
mob
no.
boss. He is definitely doing something with the mob, and
Maybe in
then
Home Alone, he is
well,
nowhere
Home
close to a
Alone,
mob
yeah.
boss in Sopranos. How the fuck have you never seen Sopranos?
I don't know. I'm not really into mobs things. I'm gonna be
Look at your
honest.
life. Look at your choices.
I'm
Okay.
from Boston, Massachusetts. You think I'd be more into mob things, but I'm not.
I love
I don't
mob
know.
things. I don't know why.
I like
I
the
got really
Departed.
into it at one point. I even like read like Way of the Wise Guy,
She was running
and
her own mob in
I
her
was
house
running
in
it.
Florida and Orlando.
That's me.
But also, like the brother of the dad's brother is the biggest cheapskate.
Frank.
Yeah, like why is that guy getting to come up? I don't know. I could go on a tangent.
All
Frozen
right,
2 is
so
number 2. That's the one my daughter likes to watch all the time.
into the
And I
unknown.
can listen. Um,
Ooh,
let's
Moana is
yeah,
first.
Moana is number 1.
Nice.
I liked
I
Moana a
love
lot. I really
Moana.
liked it, and it's funny because The Rock was like my daughter. He has a young daughter, and she wants him to sing it, but she was that's like the one song he has to sing to her before bed, and it was just kind of cute. I like it.
Aw.
I did like Moana. It's a great story. The heart is
Mm-hmm.
Tafiti, and it's a really good movie. So watch Moana. And if anybody's surprised by this, you severely underestimate children under 5 wanting to watch the same movie on repeat for days and weeks on end. So I'm not surprised by any of that.
Right,
And
and then they
Moana's
just
getting a
switch it.
TV show. Yeah, and then randomly they're like, I want to watch this now. And what did you?
Wait, so what is this next list you have?
This next list is the most streamed TV shows on Disney Plus.
Oh,
And
we did
number
movies.
10
Now we're doing
is
TV.
The Agents of Shield. I haven't seen yet. I
Nice.
saw the
So a
first
lot of people
season.
are catching up. I
They
love
are.
it.
I'm gonna be one of those people. I've only watched the first season. And it was trash, but I
Oh,
gotta
it's
stick with it.
garbage.
I gotta stick with
Hmm.
it. I understand. Number 9 is Star Wars Rebels, which
I have to
Rebels
watch.
is a decent. It's so the first season again suffers from the it's pretty campy, cartoony, but holy shit, does it pick up and it gets more like you get to see Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul one more time. You see Ahsoka versus Darth Vader, and it adds a lot of depth. And honestly, Rebels is a really great TV show. If you can get through the first TV series, the first season, Rebels is actually going to be good. So yeah, give just do whatever you got to do during the first season. Seasons 2 through 4, really great, and it leads right into what we're seeing in the Mandalorian. Number 8 is Puppy Dog Pals.
Let's just
Thank
keep moving along before the song gets
God,
stuck in my head.
I've never seen Puppy Dog Pals.
Oh,
Number
I'm pretty
7,
sure it's the one dude from Half Baked that goes to jail.
huh?
Kenny.
Never seen
Pretty
it.
sure he's the owner of the dogs. Move it along.
How do you know this?
Because I hear him all the time and I picture the voice.
Number 7 is Once Upon a Time, which is a good show. I think I saw the first 2 seasons. That's
I liked
the
Once Upon a Time.
live
I did not.
action Disney princesses and stuff, right? Okay.
Well, it's more than princesses. It's
Well,
everything. I mean,
villains. I saw
and
the first season or 2, I think.
they do. So I actually got into it because my oldest daughter wanted to watch it, and it was one of those shows like, okay, I'll let you watch it, but I'm not going to let you watch it alone because she was younger at the time.
Oh, that makes sense.
It was really good, ups and downs, kind of like Shield.
Yep.
But it didn't have any terrible seasons like Shield. But they did take the whole Frozen thing and they went a bit far with the whole Frozen thing. When Frozen was at the height of its popularity, but it gets dark too, like the whole Peter Pan
Into the
thing.
unknown.
They did not get into the unknown
Into the
because the show stopped before
unknown.
that. But the very last season was kind of like a jumping the shark kind of thing. So you're like, why are they, they did one last season, but half the cast was missing. And you're like, what are they doing? This isn't that great. We've seen this story before, but you had not seen that story before. They changed things up. So if you've never seen it, it's definitely worth watching. It's definitely enjoyable. I very much so liked that show, but I did not like that Prince Charming in that show, he was the original Fandral the Dashing and Thor, and I actually liked him more so than
Oh,
I liked
wow.
Shazam as Fandral the Dashing. I loved him as I loved
Huh.
I don't Josh Dallas, I think is his name.
Yeah,
So I
yeah, I know
loved
who you're
him as
talking
Fandral the
about.
Dashing. I really thought he looked like the comic book character and everything. And I did not love Shazam slash Flynn Rider. Was it Levi?
Yep.
He took over the role, and I didn't like him as much in that role, even though I love him in other roles. But he is charming, and he's throughout the whole show. But yes,
Whack.
I really liked Once Upon a Time. It's worth watching. It gets dark at times, but it's one of those shows. You know, if your kid's 7 or up, watch it with them. It's a lot
Fuck
of
them
fun.
kids.
They go into the actual stories of fairy tales, not just the Disney ones. Like they did a Halloween one on like the Frankenstein monster and everything like that. So,
All right,
and it's
damn
fun
it.
to
Now
see
I gotta
the
finish watching it because now you said Halloween.
well, it's fun seeing them intertwine the Disney characters with these real characters and whatnot. And then you're like, oh, Rumpelstiltskin is, also I don't even want to say who he's related to, but a lot of them are related.
Oh,
So we'll leave it at
Rumpelstiltskin.
that.
I do remember
But
his
not
arc.
in an Arkansas kind of
Anyways,
way.
and Arkansas,
But if
you
you're
mean
from
Alabama?
Arkansas, I don't mean that implies to you. I've been to Arkansas. It's
Anyways,
quite
moving
lovely.
on. Number 6 is Phineas and Ferb. I have never personally watched the show. I know what it is. Then you
Mom.
have Jesse is number 5. Again,
Ugh.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
Hey, Jesse. Ooh, I fucking hate that show. Move it
Well, number
along.
4 is The Clone Wars.
Oh, you got your
Ahsoka Tano,
Ahsoka.
Rex. Yes, The
Nice.
Clone Wars. It should be higher. I implore you all to watch The Clone Wars. Number 3 is The Mandalorian. Again, surprised it's not higher. However, I have children, so I understand that number 2 is the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. I'm
Right.
outside. It's fun outside. It's the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Yeah, God bless America. And then number 1 is The Simpsons. Not surprised by that.
Wow.
I'm not because I knew they bought it. I knew it was on there, so I guess I just assumed that since it's the longest running like TV show in history,
It's still on.
it is. And so it's on Disney
That
Plus. And
show's
that was
older than you are. It started in 89.
well, look at that. What's gonna die first, me or the Simpsons? Hopefully me.
Well, if it's you, The Simpsons will predict it because
I hope they
that
do
is
predict
actually
my
moving on to my news. There
What
is
do
a
we
whole
have?
actually did this make it on? Okay. So Disney Plus has a whole section now called Simpsons Predicts.
Oh, do
So
they?
anybody who has Disney Plus, you can see they have, a Marvel one, a Star Wars one, they've had a holiday one. So now they have a whole section that says Simpsons Predicts, and it's episodes that show things that the Simpsons predicted that they got correct, such as Trump being president. They even have an episode where he's going down an elevator. And that's not, I mean, they have so many things. So I think that's hilarious. But okay. So my next okay. My next piece of news is Coming to America sequel is coming out on
Yes, and
March
they
5th
haven't
on
aged a day.
Prime. They have a what?
They have not aged a single day.
Oh no, they haven't.
Holy
Arsenio
shit,
Hall and Eddie
they look the
Murphy
same as they did when the first one came out.
and Mufasa slash
Yes, well,
Darth
he's
Vader
aged,
returns.
but
So they're coming to America. Damn it, I
again,
watched
because
this.
he has a kid that he didn't
Right.
know about, and so he's coming back to
Well, because a
America.
male heir has to take over or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Yes. Well, he's coming back. Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall are coming back to America because Eddie Murphy has a child who is the heir to the throne.
When the hell was the last time we saw Arsenio Hall?
I have no idea.
I just want to
Honestly, can't remember. It's
Okay.
been a long time.
So Wonder Woman 3 got greenlit. It will be set in present day. Is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. We'll get into that in a little bit. Creed 3 is coming out and will be directed by Michael B. Jordan.
Never watched the first two.
I haven't either. By the time you've seen this or listened to this, Cobra Kai season 3 is already out.
Now that's something I've seen, and we're going to talk about next week.
Yes. And so there's a new Netflix series called High Score. It's actually a docu-series about old school video games like Nintendo.
Oh, I'm so fucking in.
I have not watched it, but
I'm
it looks
in.
interesting.
It's out right now?
Yep, it's out.
Oh, I'm
on
there.
Netflix.
I'm going to watch it right after this.
right out while
No,
you're
I'm
eating your
not, because
Chick-fil-A.
Carrie's gonna want to watch something like Ink Master. She's been on like an Ink Master kick lately. I don't know.
What's Ink Master?
It's an awful reality TV show where people tattoo artists and
Oh, ink,
eh,
that kind of ink. Okay.
yeah,
I'm
I don't
thinking,
know.
I'm like, I don't know what the hell ink is, but okay,
Listen,
now that you
you
said
don't
that,
have
that makes
you don't have
sense.
tattoos, so you
Oh,
wouldn't
excuse
understand.
me. I don't have
You wouldn't
tattoos.
understand that you don't have tattoos.
Okay, so live action Cruella with Emma Stone is coming
Cruella de
out. It
Vil.
says
I used to have such a
in
crush on her.
theaters on May 28th. I think many of you guys did. Oh, well, she's also what's her face?
Gwen Stacy.
Gwen Stacy.
She dies. Spoiler.
The
She dies.
most realistic comic book death in a movie ever.
That was actually, I'm surprised they did that because it does come straight out the comic books. She snaps her neck. He tries to save her. It whiplashes. She dies. That was
But
the
how many
best
times
part
has that
about.
happened before that they just ignore that kind of stuff? And we're just going to pretend that didn't happen. We're going to pretend that you didn't get like your brain shaken up inside a helmet while fighting some
The
evil
plot
villain.
dictated her dying, and thus she broke her neck.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an intense scene. Yeah. So yeah,
They were
she's now
dating too.
Cruella.
Crazy.
They were dating?
Yeah, Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone, they were dating.
Oh, who knew? Well, apparently you
I
did. I did
did.
not. Okay, so Steven Spielberg is currently working on Ready Player 2, the movie. There are no set dates or anything, but apparently it
Well,
is
he obviously
happening.
got the hands on the book, so he has to make a Ready Player 2.
Right. Book was not as good as the first book. Movie is not as
Oh
good
no,
as the
that's so
first book.
sad.
Read the
Really?
first book. The
I
second
have
book
to.
was good. I've mentioned this. The second book was very good, and I actually want to rewatch the movie.
I need to get the
Especially because they
second
were
book and
also
read it.
saying there's certain characters that are alive or dead that are not consistent. I'm trying to say this without ruining one or the other.
Don't
So there are
spoil
characters that are
it.
dead in one and characters that are alive in the other. And the
Okay.
author of the book said when he wrote the second book, he tried to not let the movie influence him to keep the book kind of authentic or whatever.
Hear that, George
So
R. R. Martin?
get your shit
That
together,
means
George R. R.
ignore everything
Martin.
that happened in season 8 of Game of Thrones and you rewrite that fucking book.
Well, I mean, clearly he listens because so does the WB, or no, I'm not WB, DC,
WB.
because we've yelled at them. Okay. My last piece of news. Actually, I think I have two more pieces of news. Okay. So Ninkasi Brewing, they're the ones that make all their beer with the dinosaur labels like Tricerahops.
Ooh.
They have actually teamed up with Dark Horse Comics or an illustrator of Dark Horse Comics, and they've actually made a beer comic book. And if you go to their website, which we will post on our Instagram, or you can just go to their website and you can register your email address and fill out a form, and they will actually mail you this comic book. I did it the other day. Obviously, I haven't gotten the comic book yet. But when I do, I will share it, and I am very excited. And to quote one of the lines from the article I read, it said, quote, "We won't spoil what happens when the goddess Ninkasi confronts King Bloodweizen. Only
Ooh.
that when there's craft beer involved, you can be assured a hoppy ending," end quote.
Well,
So, and my last piece
well,
of news is
well.
actually beer news that I was going to share on Hops News, but we ran out of time. But it kind of seems like geek news because it's very much so Willy Wonka themed. So, Brewdog Brewing, or Brewdog Brewery, which is a Scotland brewery, and they also have places in the States, has released 10 solid gold Punk IPA cans hidden in their Punk 12 packs, which will be shipped from their online shop over the next 4 weeks. The winners can receive a gold can worth of like 10
I
grand in
got the golden
cash
ticket.
or Brewdog shares and a VIP tour of their brewery. So if you see 12 packs of, I'm kind of curious, they didn't specify if it was in the States, in Europe, or both.
Well,
But
I've
you know,
never
their
seen
beer's
one
good either
here,
ways.
so I'm not going to be able to get it. So,
You've never seen Brewdog there?
nope.
Oh, wow. I feel like they're everywhere. I've
Nope.
even had them at Disney before.
Huh.
Okay. Our main topic.
Oh, Wonder Woman. We're going to go into some background on Wonder Woman.
All right. I will go into old school background and then you can take it from there. So, Wonder Woman, also known as Diana Prince. She is the first comic book appearance was in 1941 in All Star Comics #8. William Moulton Marston created her and wanted her to have the strength of Superman with the beauty and good of a god. Despite a hiatus in 1986, Wonder Woman has been continually published by DC Comics since 1941.
Whoa.
Her origin story has been changed over the years, though. She was originally made from clay by her mother, and later it was said that Zeus was her father. In her original story, she left the mascara when an American pilot landed on her island and she needed to return him,
Damn
similar
you,
to the first
beautiful
movie.
Steve Trevor.
Yep. She then trades places with a woman who looks like her but wants to escape to South America. She originally lost her powers when she chose to stay in the quote man's world, but they bring them back later on. She does marry Steve Trevor in the earlier comics, and that is later taken out. Obviously, she did not marry him in the movie. So she is actually known to kill when necessary in the
As
comics
all
back in the
heroes
day.
should.
I agree. Sometimes, yeah, I mean,
Sometimes,
don't like,
listen, a motherfucker needs to get killed.
right, don't like Deadpool murder them all, but,
No, but sometimes somebody's got to
don't
die.
always listen to
And she
Colossus
battles
either.
gods and stuff. So, like, yeah,
Yeah.
come on, kill him.
All right. So at one point, she dated Superman. In
I didn't
1942.
like that. I didn't like that run.
Yeah, I didn't read any of that, but I don't see them doing that in the movies because
So,
Lois Lane is such a
real
prominent
quick,
character.
is that she dates and has a baby with Superman in the Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns series.
Oh,
Which Dark Knight
interesting.
Returns, great comic. The sequels, not so much.
All right, then. Well, in 1942, she joined the Justice League of America with Batman, Green Lantern, and other famous superheroes, and she got to be their secretary. How nice is
Well, that's
that?
certainly not womanizing.
No, not at all. So some of the research on her origin actually took a bit of a turn. So Marston, her creator, was a Harvard professor, a feminist, and the inventor of the lie detector.
I did know this. There's a
Um,
movie about it.
that actually kind of makes her lasso of truth a little bit more entertaining.
Yeah.
However, the creator was also a polygamist, a known liar, and a big fan
He
of
definitely
bondage.
cheated on his wife a bunch of times and was remarried a few times. If you know the
There's,
story.
yeah, you can actually see this in the original Woman comics, which he was involved in. She is constantly getting tied up, gagged, shackled, and caged to the point that it
Whoa,
became a
this
bit of a
man
fetish.
was on some shit.
Yeah, and creepy fans were actually reaching out to him and asking where they could buy some of the items used to tie Wonder Woman up. If you find this at all interesting or disgusting, but you still want to know more, there's a
I
whole book about
don't
this
want you in my
called.
DMs if you find this at all
Please
arousing.
DM Matthew Tyler.
Please go to your nearest hustler and talk to them.
There's a whole book about this called The Secret History of Wonder Woman by a
Well,
woman named Jill Lepore. And she called Wonder Woman a quote, feminism as a fetish, end quote. But yeah,
I'm
she
just
goes all into
really into
this.
big beefy women tying me up.
Well, because he made it seem like he wanted a strong woman that, these girls can look up to.
Well,
And
there's
it,
a movie that they made that was about him, the creator.
oh, did they?
Yeah, dang, I can't remember the name of it right now. I will look it up.
That doesn't surprise me. But
Oh,
yeah, I mean, if there's a whole book, I put the book in my Amazon shopping cart and I haven't purchased it yet, but it was kind of one of those, do I need to know more about this?
it was called Professor Marston and the Wonder Women. It is a
Ah.
2017 drama that has actually come out as a 7.1 on
Hmm.
IMDb, and 87% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Hmm.
And it's called Every Behind Every Great Man is a Great Woman. Then Harvard psychologist and inventor Dr. William Moulton Marston has the good fortune of having two: his wife Elizabeth and their mutual lover Olive Byrne. What the fuck, kind of weird shit. Anyways, in addition to helping him perfect the lie detector test, the two women also inspire him to create one of the greatest female superheroes of all time, the beloved comic book character Wonder Woman. I actually remember this movie. I fell asleep. Carrie, my wife, she watched it when we were living in New Hampshire when it first came out. I fell asleep, so I don't know what happens in
So
the
you need to
movie.
let us know where to find it and everything, because I would be down to watch it. I don't know if I want to commit to reading a whole book, but I'd be down to
Yeah, I'm
commit
not
to
gonna read the whole
watching a movie.
book. I could maybe
It
see
is still in
the
my Amazon
movie.
cart.
Oh, well, I have things in my Amazon cart, like a projector that I've been waiting on. I bought a projector, but
Just
Walmart fucked that up. So, anyways,
all right. So go on to your comic book origin before we go into the
yes.
movie.
So Wonder Woman 84. We're gonna go to some spoilers today,
No, first you're doing comic book
I
though.
am doing comic books. What
Okay.
I'm letting people know is about the fact that the main villains are Barbara Minerva, aka Cheetah, and Maxwell Lord. And so I'm going to talk about them real quick. And so in the comic book, Maxwell Lord has telekinetic very,
Kinesis?
I don't know the right word.
He had mind control powers.
Yes. So he has telepathic persuasion is the correct term. It's his power, and over time, his power grows to him being able to even overtake Superman, which took a lot of effort and time. And his powers cause a great mental strain and a nosebleed, which you kind of see in Wonder Woman 84. He first
Oh
shows up as a
yeah.
shrewd businessman in Justice League issue number 1 in May of 1987. Cheetah first appears in Wonder Woman number 6 in 1943. There are 4 different iterations of Cheetah. You have Priscilla Rich in the Golden and Silver Age, Deborah Domain, the Bronze Age, Barbara Minerva, who we all know, and maybe you love her, maybe you don't, but she's in the post crisis and current iteration of Cheetah. And then you have Sebastian Ballesteros, who appeared briefly as Cheetah in 2001. So I'm going to focus on Barbara because that's the main character in Wonder Woman 84. Barbara, in the comic books, is a British archaeologist and heiress to a vast family fortune, financed an expedition to Africa, which is protected by a female guardian with the powers of a cheetah. Well, Barbara agrees to be the village's new guardian once she is promised immortality. However, the person who takes over the mantle of this cheetah is intended to be a virgin. Well, Barbara's not. So her transformations are partly due to a curse that she experiences. So she experiences being in human form, which, human form, whatever. And then when she turns into cheetah, she experiences like bloodlust, basically. And Barbara discovers that Diana has a lasso of truth, which she's obsessed with in the comic books. And so she really wants to get that lasso. And so she kind of comes up with a way to meet Diana and get this lasso. Diana finds out about what's going on and she feels betrayed. She takes it back. And then over the years, Barbara becomes less obsessed with the lasso, and then she becomes more invested in besting Diana. And so that's kind of where the rivalry comes from, is just beating one another. And Cheetah has that power. After the events of DC Rebirth, the cheetah's origin was altered once again. As a young girl, Barbara Ann Cavendish enjoyed mythology. She showed an affinity for languages. Her father disparaged her interest in mythology, deriding it as childish. In her defiance of her dad, because everybody's got daddy issues, her passion for myth and legend remained as an adult. She changed her surname to Minerva in honor of the late mother. By age 26, she mastered 7 languages, earned 2 PhDs in archaeology, and then while on a dig in Ukraine, she discovered proof of the existence of the Amazons, but the dig site collapsed and was abandoned. She was able to take photos before the collapse and continue an investigation until she found herself at a dead end where she seemingly on a seemingly deserted island in the Black Sea. After Princess Diana, aka Wonder Woman, returned U.S. Navy SEAL Steve Trevor to the United States. The Navy assigned Dr. Minerva to translate to Diana as she spoke only Amazonian language. Minerva became close friends with Diana and her minder, Etta Candy. Etta is from the first Wonder Woman movie, who works with Steve Trevor, and so they're not close friends at that time. Anyways, Diana learns English and she learns other languages after Ares attacks the naval base where Diana is staying. Several Olympian gods assist Diana in defeating him. Minerva becomes more obsessed with the divine, seeking out proof. And then Minerva learns of, I cannot pronounce this word, Uzgartaga.
Zartaga. I have
Yeah.
no idea.
Well, she learns of it and obtains funding for an expedition to the fictional African nation. And unbeknownst to Minerva,
Wanda.
yeah, it's Buwanda from Industrialist Veronica Kale.
But you know you wish it was Wakanda.
Or yeah, Rwanda would also have worked, but we have to have fictional, or there's an African God dang, I can't remember the name now, but it starts with the K. And anyways,
Kenya?
no, it's Black Lightning's home.
Oh,
It's Kondak.
okay.
Kondak, yes.
Okay.
So,
I was
anyways,
like, is he
Kondak.
naming real African
No, no, no,
countries?
no, no.
Okay.
Anyways, I would have gone with Kondak. Anyways, unbeknownst to Minerva, Kale was I was acting on behalf of the son of Ares, who intended to turn Minerva into the demigod like Diana, so she can help them locate the mascara. Diana provides Minerva with a Wayne Enterprises GPS signaling device in case she needed help, which Dr. Cyber, a secret ally of Ares, remotely disables. As a result, Wonder Woman was unable to prevent Minerva from becoming wed to Uzurtaga and undergoing a ritual becoming the cheetah. She blames Diana for letting her be transformed into a beast, consumed by bloodlust and cannibalistic urges. And then the cheetah joins Kale's Godwatch group. And then Diana and Barbara are best friends in most iterations before she becomes Cheetah. So
Ah. So is Ares, when they're referring to Ares, is that like the god Ares?
that is the god Ares, who we saw in the first Wonder Woman. Now, Patty
We
Jenkins
did.
in the first Wonder Woman wanted David Tules. I can't pronounce his last name.
Who was Ares in the first Wonder
It
Woman?
was
Oh,
David. It
he was
was
the other.
Remus Lupin. Um,
Okay.
he was the
I remember
god
that now. I had
Ares,
forgotten. I haven't seen the
and
first one in a while.
in Patty Jenkins' version, he never becomes that. There was never like this big CGI fight. It was he stays as the human form that he's in the whole movie.
Right. He's at like
How
the top of the tower or whatever.
Yes. Now, the problem was the WB executives who watched the movie. At first, they were like, "Well, we really want this like big CGI fight. He needs to turn into somebody else." She was like, "No, no, no. The whole point behind Ares is that he stays this character because he's stronger. He's a god. He's stronger than Diana." They're like, "Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay." Well, they watched the movie and then they weren't satisfied. So they came to Patty and were like, "No, you got to change it." She was mad that she had to turn it to this big CGI fest. And I agree with her because had you had him stay as his human form and fight Diana, it would have been so much more because he is a god. And so he would have
Mm-hmm.
fought Diana. However, they made her change it to he's the CGI with the helmet and all that bullshit, the lightning. So that's kind of the first one. Now we can get into our recap here.
Yes.
1984.
So,
So at the end of Wonder Woman 1, Steve dies. He
oh, whoa.
dies.
We're
Yes.
not there yet. Hold on.
Okay. I'm sorry. Spoilers. If
All
anybody
right.
needs to leave now, just leave and then come back at a different time.
Right. Well,
I'll be
Wonder
back.
Woman was in Batman vs Superman. She was the only good thing in that movie, and she was in
Oh
Justice League.
no.
Oh, I said it and I meant it.
No.
So,
No.
first movie
I
recap.
love Batman v Superman. I will
You're the only one.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Find somebody else who loved
I
Batman vs Superman.
apologetically love Batman v Superman.
Other than Ben Affleck's mom, find
There was a
somebody else who
lot to
liked it.
like. Yes, the Martha thing was a little stupid. I understand.
It was the dumbest shit ever, and it's what controlled the ending.
The best Batman fight sequence that we have
Very
gotten
similar to Wonder Woman
was
2.
in the warehouse scene where Batman just beats the fuck out of people. That scene was amazing. And
I think we need to go back to Michael Keaton.
They take a lot from the comic books. There's a scene in Batman, the Dark Knight Returns, that somebody has the gun, just like KGB Beast, because that's who that character is playing. He has the big gun. He's like, I'll do it. He's like, I believe you. Well, in the Dark Knight Returns, he punches through a wall. He takes the gun. It's ripped right out of the comic books. That whole sequence is great. I love Henry Cavill as Superman.
I do love him as Superman.
We're gonna have to talk about this movie because I like the movie.
All right.
You don't.
I need to rewatch it, and maybe we should have an episode on it.
We're gonna.
And I will say, you've read more comic books on it, so you have a different perspective than I do. But I honestly think Batman vs Superman was the worst. I'm trying to think if it was worse than Green Lantern. It was
no way.
The worst comic book movie. Well, I don't know. Last
worse
Fantastic Four was really bad.
Oh my! No.
But it was up there. Batman v Superman, The Last Fantastic Four, and Green Lantern.
I need a new co-host. I can't do this.
The 3 worst movies ever. Superhero movies.
Can't do this.
So, To recap the first movie, before taking the role, Gal Gadot, who plays Wonder Woman, went through an intense training regime, whatever you call that word,
Regimen.
regimen, practicing different martial arts, including swordsmanship, kung fu, kickboxing,
Ooh.
capoeira, and Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and she gained 17 pounds of muscle. She's actually a former Israeli army combat trainer and a Miss Israeli pageant winner. Gal Gadot embraced the character to its fullest extent. In fact, when she did the reshoots, she was actually pregnant with one of her kids, and
Oh, I did know that.
they put a green screen over her belly. That's how pregnant she was. Before she was Wonder Woman, she was okay. So this actually is a little recap, real quick, of the first movie. But if you haven't seen it, you really should watch it. The first movie is absolutely amazing. It is the best, I would say, DC
It's
movie since like Michael Keaton, in my opinion. Actually, it might be the best DC movie ever.
Have you
Ugh.
watched The Dark Knight?
I very much so like The Dark Knight. Yes. Was The Dark Knight in the 2000s?
2008. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so in the realm of all these movies trying to be connected, this is the best movie. Can you agree with that?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes. I will say that. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. The Dark Knight, I feel like, is like a standalone. That trilogy is very good.
That
But I
trilogy
almost
is amazing.
but when it first came out, they made it seem like Ben Affleck was replacing Christian Bale when that is not what happened.
No, that's not what happened at all.
So those movies are kind of standalone. I'm sorry, I got my years confused. This is the best movie
You're
of
gonna
the
have an
movies that are
aneurysm.
connected. But yeah, I was just trying to make sure I wasn't giving Val.
No, you're good. You're good. Continue.
Okay, so before she was Wonder Woman, she was Diana, Princess of the Amazons. She's a trained warrior in the
Daughter
Amazon
of
islands, the
Zeus.
Muscaria. The Muscaria. In 1918, when the American pilot Steve Trevor crashes offshore, and he tells Diana about World War I and the conflict in the outside world, Diana leaves home to embark on a journey to end all wars, discovering her full powers and true destiny. I stole all that from IMDb. So that is the main basis of the first
It's a
movie.
great
And in the
movie.
end, Steve Trevor dies.
It's a great movie.
And he's played by
Spoilers.
Chris Pine.
Leave. You know what? If you're still here, you've seen it. Anyways, yes, Chris Pine is Steve Trevor, who in every iteration of Wonder Woman is her love. They love
He's
each other.
also Captain Kirk,
He is. He's in a lot of
Thor's
stuff.
son. He's Thor's son in Captain Kirk. Well, in Star Trek.
Oh wow, that's Chris Hemsworth did play his dad. Wow, that's right. That's right.
Did. Before he was Thor, he played his
That's
dad.
yeah. That was J.J. Abrams' attempt at revitalizing Star Trek, and it worked out for a movie and a half.
Yes. I thought the movie and a half was so good that I was like, oh, I want to go back and watch Star Trek. And my friend Tim is like, no, don't do that to yourself.
It wasn't as good. However, I
He
did
goes,
forget
it will
that.
ruin the movies. Chris Pine's been in other stuff too. Didn't he voice one of the Spider-Mans in Into the Spider-Verse?
I think so. Chris Pine's in a lot of stuff. He's in. Oh my gosh.
He did look a little bit older in this movie. I'm not
He
gonna
did
lie.
the gray sides of the hair, which I noticed myself this morning when I looked
Was
in the
all
mirror. I was
that
like, wow, I had that
natural, or
coming.
did they do that to make him age?
No, I think that's all natural.
Huh.
Well, I mean, nothing is all natural in the realm of Hollywood because he was born in 1980. But
I
he
was
plays
born in 83. Jeez.
okay.
Yes.
Well,
He plays the original Peter Parker in Into the Spider-Verse. And when I
that's
say
right.
original Peter
Yes,
Parker, you know who I'm talking
he's in
about.
that. He's in A Wrinkle in Time.
Yes, he's the dad.
He's in Wonder Woman, Saturday Night Live, Star Trek,
He's in
Hell or High
Saturday Night
Water,
Live.
Wet Hot American Summer.
Into the
He's in
Woods. Okay,
Horrible
we're both on
Bosses,
IMDb now. Oh, I
Into the
forgot he
Woods.
was in Horrible Bosses.
Jack Ryan.
Oh, Rise of the Guardians. He plays Jack Frost.
I was gonna say Rise of the Guardians. He's in that. Quantum something.
I wish it was Quantum Leap.
Yeah, no,
It is
he's in a
not.
bunch. He's in.
They should bring back Quantum
that's
Leap.
right. He's in Smoking Aces, which has Ben Affleck as well and Ryan Reynolds,
Ooh,
and he plays
and
one of the
that
hit
had,
guys. Smoking Aces is fucking fantastic. I love that movie.
It's very underrated. That movie's very much so underrated.
I totally
agree.
forgot he's in that
Smoking
movie
Aces
because
is
he plays
phenomenal.
one of the like one of the hick. he's like the hit guys who's like, yeah, oh my god, that movie's so good.
Yes, I agree. Smoking Aces is
He's in
awesome. Ryan
ER
Reynolds
back in
is in it.
2003.
ER.
He is,
ER was still around in 2003. All
I
right, we need to move
guess. I don't know.
along. Wonder
Anyways,
Woman,
yes.
1984.
I want to hear your thoughts. Let's hear your thoughts first.
Oh, you want to hear my thoughts?
I want to
My
hear your thoughts
thoughts?
first.
I think you have more thoughts. So
I've got a
I
lot of thoughts.
I did not like this movie at all. I
Yeah.
thought
Solid
it
6
started out
maybe.
strong. I had very high expectations. And I wanted to say, like, oh, I had high expectations, so that's why it wasn't as good. No, it was not good. It was super duper cheesy. I don't like cheeseball endings. Um, I mean, Kristen Wiig, when she turned into Cheetah, she looked like Jane Lynch, but it was weird.
Yeah.
And I found it a little bit weird that was it a coincidence that it actually ended on Christmas and then it just happened to be released on Christmas?
So I think it was, or
I
they
think it
added a
was
scene.
too.
It wasn't. I don't think it was intentional that it
I don't think
was.
it was either, but I
Yeah.
was kind of like, huh, this is convenient. So Gal Gadot's husband and kids are actually in the last scene of Christmas. This isn't an
Really?
insult. This is just a fun fact. So at the very end of the movie, when she's like looking at these kids playing, so she has two daughters, both of them appear, and the oldest one is actually with Patty Jenkins' son in the movie. And they're playing like that scene where she's looking at people and playing. So that's Patty Jenkins'
Huh.
son and her oldest daughter playing. And then her youngest one, who she was pregnant with during the reshoots on Wonder Woman, is actually playing with her husband in that scene. And that's when she's looking at them smiling. And then she just happens to look over and see the guy
That
who
she fucking
Chris,
banged.
right, that Chris Pine was essentially like possessing. And they don't even like think that through. Like you're using
So
somebody
here's your
else's.
real husband, but then like here's the man who's only credited.
Yeah,
His
right. It's
name
like
for
you
the movie
have
is
already slept with
handsome.
him. You know,
Like he doesn't
Samuel
even have
Beckett thought about this stuff when he was Quantum Leap. Like
Yeah. So
y'all didn't think
the
about that
the
at
guy
all.
doesn't have an actual name. He's
Nope.
credited as handsome man.
And then she didn't even talk to him. You thought they were going to be like, let's go get a
She was
drink. No.
like, I saw your dick. I
Right.
straight up like, I touched your dick. It was in me.
Oh, no. But all she saw was Steve Trevor's dick.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna get into that. I got it.
Okay.
Oh, well,
So
I'm gonna
let
get
me
into
get
that.
through
Like
my
she got into
ridiculousness real quick.
that.
So her biological clock is clearly ticking. She's focusing on kids the entire time.
Is she?
Oh my gosh. At the very beginning, she's focusing on kids. She keeps saving kids. And then at the very end, she's looking at kids. She clearly is like,
Maybe she just has a weird obsession with kids.
well, I don't want to say that. I think her biological clock is just ticking. So
She's 3,000 years old. Of course it's ticking.
so we get, Pedro Pascal, last week we had
He
him.
knew what movie he was in.
Right. And last week he was the best dad ever to Grogu.
Life can be good, but
the
it
worst
can.
dad ever to some kid who barely talks.
Do we even know who this kid is? Because he's literally by himself in his office the entire movie, and then ends up in
He
the
just
middle
leaves
of a
random
highway
people
at the
to
end.
take care. Oh my god, it was so stupid.
Oh, it's my weekend.
What again?
Again?
So I did
Fuck
like
this
the Linda.
kid.
I like the Linda Carter cameo at the end, but I thought it was very cheesy, and she looks like she's had some work done since Supergirl,
yeah.
which was not that long ago.
She's an actress
she did not look
in
good.
her 70s.
But she didn't look that bad in Supergirl like 3 years ago. So I don't know what's going on. But
Supergirl
okay.
C-Dep. Yeah, anyways.
So the ending was terrible. Everybody
yes.
recants their wish. Really? Everyone?
You're going to tell me
Everyone
that
had
somebody
the-
wasn't wishing that he would shut the fuck up and so they can watch TV?
But also, you think there's not going to be one person out there that's like, I'm not going to recant. If everybody else
Also-
recants, I'll be fine. That's our voting system.
Yeah. Not
People
everybody.
think, I don't need to vote. My vote
First of
doesn't
all,
matter.
Not everybody's wish even gets granted because you see his son wishing into the TV like, Dad, I wish you were here, Dad.
No, but everybody got one wish, and he had already accidentally made one wish when he was touching the dad.
How? What wish was his?
I don't remember. It was something stupid. And remember that he's like, don't touch me and wish.
I don't remember that.
I think. Maybe I need to rewatch it.
Maybe
But
I need to
remember-
rewatch it. Oh, God.
I don't want to rewatch it, though, so I'm
I
not
really
going to.
don't.
I'll
really
rewatch
don't.
the first one.
I really don't. Don't make me do
All right,
it.
so you go into your tirade because...
Oh, man.
Oh, and the
well,
CGI was so bad. It reminded me of Spider-Man 1. It
So,
reminded me of the original Spider-Man.
first of all,
Not the
this
original,
movie is literally
2002.
Spider-Man 2, but Wonder Woman. Because in Spider-Man 2, Her scientist friend becomes the bad, or it's Peter Parker's scientist friend becomes the bad guy. He loses his
Doc Ock.
power. He has somebody he loves but loses. And so this movie, Spider-Man 2, you're not going to change my mind. Tobey Maguire and Gal Gadot, they
At
played the
least they
same
didn't have
movie.
Aunt May. Thank God.
Very true. And we didn't have to watch
Aunt
anything
May in
die
those movies
again.
is
Like,
terrible. Oh, she's just gonna hit the Green
oh,
Goblin. No, no, you
Green
don't do
Goblin showed
that.
up. She's in her hospital bed, like, oh. Anyway,
You don't do that. It's not nice.
yeah. So I'm gonna start with the pros. There's some pros. There is a good story to be told here. Somewhere.
There's a lot of fanny packs.
Buried deep within this movie, there's a good movie.
There's another thing I hated, but I'll wait.
No, go ahead.
The balloon. She fucking is smiling at a balloon releasing into the sky.
99 red balloons.
So is it because it makes you think of flying? You
sky.
realize how bad that is for the environment, that balloons in general
man.
are bad for the environment. And you're just
I'll
going to
give
like
you that.
smile at a child releasing one into the sky to
So,
potentially
yeah.
strangle a bird or kill a dolphin or some shit.
Perhaps.
That's not cool, dude.
Some pros.
Not
All right,
cool.
some pros. Gal Gadot and Chris Pine's chemistry, great. Loved it. Their chemistry in the first movie was great.
He didn't
Second
seem
movie,
that sad to leave, though.
would you? If you knew what movie
He's
you
like,
were in?
just wish me away, Diana.
Just wishing me away. Why the fuck am I here?
He's like, I was pretty happy before I got here.
No,
I agree.
was
In the
great.
first one,
I
they
was
were great.
dead. I had nothing to worry about. Like, just kill
Right.
me already. Gal, her acting was better in this movie, I thought. Especially the emotional scene where she's saying goodbye.
She had more depth.
I thought there was a lot of great acting. I like that Max Lord does have some humanity in his core. He's about his son, who he never cared about until he's like, Alistair, in his blue tube. The Linda Carter cameo, I'm a sucker for those cameos because she played Wonder Woman originally. I didn't mind the mall scene. So the mall scene was cool because it adds some campiness to it. And if it's acting like it's a comic book movie. So that was cool. I like that.
And it's very 80s.
Yeah, that was
in
like
a good
the most
way.
80s that you ever got from this movie. And then I like their White House fight between Cheetah and Wonder Woman, where it was like, oh wow, they're actually fist to fist. Cool, it's great. And then of course Pedro Pascal clearly knew what movie he was in. He was not taking it seriously at all, nor should he have been. And so those are my pros. Complaints. The opening 10 minutes of the Amazon scene, it goes against the rules of the first movie. So it was established that she was not able to train until she was a teenager. Yet she's like 9 years old and she's competing in their Olympics. That I get, like the story, the reasoning behind it is that she needs to learn about cheating. Yeah, it maybe has some effects on the later movie, but no, it kind of went against its own rules. I don't agree with Steve Trevor inhabiting somebody else's body, because if you have nuclear warheads appearing out of thin air, why couldn't Steve Trevor appear out of thin air?
That's a good question.
Makes no sense. And so this man potentially has a family. They see this man at the White House with knockoff Ronald Reagan getting his ass beat. I'm like, hey, that's my brother. That's my son. Maybe that's my boyfriend. Maybe that's my, like, whatever. He's on screen at the White House with this other woman. So she kind of fucked his life up. And I know the big complaint is, I don't like to use this word, but everybody's going around saying that she kind of RAPE'd him. I can see where they come from, but at the same time, like, she sees Steve Trevor. I don't know. Anyways, that's a big complaint. I only had a complaint that why is Steve taking over somebody else's body? Like,
I didn't get that at all.
He could have.
I think it was for that end scene, but they didn't even.
Stupid.
But they didn't even like cash out on that end scene.
No, not at all. Like, he's first of all, the actor who plays handsome Steve Trevor, he's in Hallmark movies, just so you know.
Oh, I'd never seen him before. Good to know.
He is in Hallmark movies. And then why are we still doing the nerdy nobody trope? So you have Electro with Jamie Foxx, you have Selena Kyle with Michelle Pfeiffer, you have the dude from Iron Man 3, I forget his stupid name. He's like the
Aldrich.
Yeah, the main thing is that you have like these nerdy people who are like, oh, nobody likes me, I just want to be liked.
Who was it in this movie?
Barbara.
Barbara.
Like, nobody recognized her. or cared about her. And so she's like, oh, I just want to be recognized. And it's stupid. Why are we still doing this trope? There's no need.
Yeah.
Especially because I thought like Barbara, they should have established her as Diana's best friend. They should have been working together, had a lot of great
Right.
friendships. And then she
Rather than having her start the day before.
yeah, if she starts and then she's like, oh, Diana picks up her papers and then she's like, want to go out to lunch? That's fucking weird, you weirdo. And they should have honestly like established they have a great friendship. And so then they could have Barbara goes off into the wilderness and goes on this archaeological dig. And maybe, yeah, they should have added stakes. There's no real stakes to this movie. There's no connection with either villain. She meets Maxwell Lord once. Barbara, she meets 2 days before. There's no stakes. And so I feel as though this movie suffers from what Thor suffered from, in that Thor is this powerful god, and he never really suffers from any stakes. Again, Thor 1, okay, maybe he loses his powers. Thor 2, there's not there's not a lot of stakes there for me in Thor 2. So I feel like they run into the same thing with Thor that they run into with Diana, and that they're too powerful for their own good. And then we have, for a movie that's set in the 80s, there's not a lot of 80s. You don't even get any 80s throwback music. There's maybe a little nostalgia in the mall, but other than that, like Stranger Things has probably spoiled us because they give us
Yeah.
this the music, they give us the nostalgia. But for a movie set
Even
in the 80s,
Ragnarok did that.
yeah, even Ragnarok did that. But a movie set in the 80s, you get no 80s. The CGI is really bad. I'm tired
Oh
of
yeah, I
Diana
agree.
slow motion swinging. I'm tired of Diana slow motion running where it looks like it's from the Flash CW show. It's bad.
Or the first Spider-Man.
Or the first part, it's bad. Like it, you can clearly tell they had a year and a half. They were sitting on this movie. You couldn't have made it better. Um, I'm going to steal this. Mark Bernardin, who is a co-host on Fat Man Beyond, he's a writer on things such as Castle Church or Castle Rock. I'm sorry, Castle Rock.
Castle Church. That's a
Yeah,
brewery.
I was thinking of the brewery, Castle Rock.
I like it.
He has a good point. Why not have Cheetah be the main villain who's working with Max Lord, and then she brings like the president to his knees and gives her real motivations. Again, they don't have any, there's no real motivations or stakes. Like Maxwell Lord is this businessman. Cool. But what does he do besides like my business is failing? I want to be the wishing stone. And so he kind of does that. I feel like that you lose a lot there.
Hmm.
And the flying just for the sake of flying, didn't like Man of Steel did it better. If you want a good flying scene, go see Man of Steel. Diana, yes, she flies in comics. I have no issue with her flying. She doesn't fly. She just, I'm gonna jump in the air now. Also, I'm gliding. Cool.
Right. Well, she
I'm
heard one thing from Steve Trevor about flying, and now she's mastered it.
right, and I'm cool with her swinging on lightning bolts because she's the daughter of Zeus. That's fine. They wasted that shot in the previews and it had nothing to do with the movie.
There was a scene in the movie.
Well, no, I'm saying like the preview made it seem like it was actually a good scene. However, it was just she was already
Oh, okay.
flying and she
Yeah.
needlessly swung on a lightning bolt just to throw it in there. Um, the invisible jet was cool, but
I did like that part.
I thought
Yeah.
that was
I was
cool. I thought that was fine.
glad that got a nod.
Why is she broken up over a dude that she knew for a week 70 years ago? Like she's still like moping
I
about a
agree.
dude that she knew for like 5 seconds 70 years ago.
Yeah.
Get come on.
And he even makes that comment though. He's like, there's plenty of dudes that are better than me out there.
Yeah.
Like he's almost, it almost seems like in the movie he's almost like turned off after, the
He's
first
like,
time they sleep together, and he's
you're
like,
way too clingy, dude.
right. He's like, you may be hot and you got a lot about you. I think because I'm guessing it's like, oh, this is the first guy that, after I left the Amazon
Well,
island
the
where we
first dude she ran
basically
into
murder
showed
men
interest
after
in
we
her. Yeah.
procreate with them.
Yeah.
This is the first dude that like gets me and I get him. And I did like the part where she goes to hand him the lasso and he's like, I didn't lie. And she's like, no, it also helps you see things. So I feel
Yeah.
like she has a hard time opening up to somebody else. Like the first time she met a dude, it was like, this is who I am. Obviously, you landed near the mascara. You know who I am. But I feel like it's hard
Right.
for her to open up to somebody else and explain who she truly is. And I guess that's why she's clinging to him. But yeah, it's been
Yeah,
70
she's like
years.
way too clingy.
Move
It's
along.
weird. Like, I like that they had not. Excuse me, I got the hiccups again.
You're
I
like
like that
Barney
they,
Rubble.
yeah, I like that they had nods to the guys from the first movie. She grew old with Etta. She grew old with everybody else. She was there in pictures. That was great. I liked that like there were some callbacks to the first ones, but why doesn't she fly into the Justice League movies? Was there no real reason? Like supposedly after this movie, in between Batman v Superman, she turned her back on men. But why? Did they retcon that? Like, there's
After
no real
Batman versus
reason.
Superman?
Yeah.
Maybe
So
because it sucked so bad. She's like, I can't deal
first
with
of
you
all, fuck you.
dumbasses.
You're awful. First of all, you're the worst. Yes,
I'm not the worst. I'm just not the
she
best.
states that she just turned her back on men, but she's running around like winking at children and destroying cameras. Like, how did Bruce Wayne not know that she was already out there? It's kind of a knock on
Because
him.
he's not the brightest crayon in the
He is.
box.
And then also, like, that's what I'm saying. It's like for a world catastrophe event where everybody is turned into like barbarians, barbarian.
Barbarian Brewing?
Why? How does Bruce Wayne not already know about this? Like, he was a kid. He probably wished for his parents to be back alive. They died a second time. Like, sorry, Bruce, your parents are fucking dead again. But like, why does it take him Googling and getting something from Lex Luthor to realize?
Luthor. Luthor.
Yeah, it's
Luther.
stupid.
Stupid.
Also, like the
Terrible.
cheesy. I'm tired of it. She did the cheesy speech in the first movie. Why are we doing it again here? I will
hate
say,
cheesy
if
speeches.
you didn't realize, the music that plays while she's giving the speech is a beautiful lie from Batman v Superman. It's Zack Snyder. Don't hang your head at me.
Terrible.
Fantastic song. But yes, while she's giving her speech, why is she giving a cheesy speech again? Use Maxwell Lord's power. Don't use Cheetah, which is my other complaint. I have a lot of complaints. I'm so sorry.
I liked Kristen Wiig until she turned into Cheetah.
I liked Kristen Wiig, but why isn't her costume more practical? Maybe I feel like her costume could have been more practical.
Yeah, why did she want to have fur? That doesn't make sense.
She wants to be an apex predator all of a sudden.
Right, but does she need fur? I mean, is that necessary?
They should have done it so much more organically than the way they did it.
Without fur.
Bad. She should have had practical effects to her outfit. And then I think, again, this movie suffers that Thor suffered, is that they're powerful, and so they need to dumb them down for movie reasons.
Thor 1? Oh, okay, so you're saying like how Thor, they took away his powers and they took away her powers.
Yeah, so this movie to me is like a 5 out of 10. It's on par with Thor: The Dark World.
But Thor 1 was great.
I like Thor 1.
I see Thor the correlation 2, you're making.
Like the problem, I
didn't hate Thor 2. It was definitely better than Wonder Woman
2. I don't hate this. Like I said, it's a 6. I think this movie's a 6. I'll say it. Final is a 6 because there's stuff I do like.
I agree with you. I'll say this movie was a 6, but I will say Thor: Dark World is a 7.5.
My last complaint is the gold suit.
Ugh.
There was no reason to have the gold suit other than to sell toys.
It was metaphorical.
Right? Asteria.
Okay, so I thought the gold suit was going to come out. How she lost her powers, I was like, because she had already explained the gold suit, that it was impenetrable and this person survived being beaten. I was like, okay, she doesn't have powers. She's going to put on the gold suit and she's going to defeat this person without her powers. And then when she got her powers back and then put it on, you could see it weighing her down. You could see it inhibiting her in being able to properly fight. So it was nothing more, I felt like, than
She'd
symbolic.
Tore through that suit in 2 seconds.
Exactly. Yet Linda Carter was able to survive being beaten relentlessly.
A bunch of Spartans, nonetheless, who were trained from birth to fight.
So I felt like they did that so they could bring in that Linda Carter cameo and have it be symbolic and yes, sell more
Well, she
shit.
was
But
in it initially. They had her eyes, and then they brought her back at the end. It's like this is from my culture, the name. Like,
right, but it was
okay.
not done well.
No. And
And when the
they
hell did she get that? When she left the Mascara to go
she flew
save
home. She flew home to yeah, I don't know
after
when she
World
got
War
that shit
One, she
either.
flew home.
I have no idea when she
Well,
got
she
that.
can't fly because she
Other than
can't
to
do an
sell
invisible jet then
toys, that's
or
stupid
fly.
because she's been training her whole life. So why all of a sudden, if she's been training her whole life, does she need a suit when she could have just wrecked Cheetah in 2 seconds? Who doesn't know how to fight? It's Barbara. They've established that she's a fucking nerd who doesn't
Right.
know
She may
anything in
have the
this movie.
powers, but she hasn't been training her whole life.
Exactly. Diana's been training her whole life. She could have just
Mm-hmm.
wrecked the shit out of Cheetah in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just Patty Jenkins didn't write the script for the first movie. She wrote it for the second movie. It kind of shows. I'm a
Hmm.
little worried that Patty's going to be taking on Rogue Squadron for Star Wars. And then Wonder Woman 3 is greenlit in the
I don't know.
present.
I don't know anybody who likes this movie, so I feel like that's gonna
I
definitely
I haven't seen a
compromise
lot
any
of people
future
who like
projects for
this
her.
movie. And
I
I'm
haven't seen a single one. If you look on any like page that's talking about it, all the comments,
you have
everybody fucking
even
hates this
go to the
movie.
subreddit, the DC subreddit, nobody's even mentioning that they like it.
Right.
And
I almost feel bad because Gal
I
Gadot
wanted
came
to
out and
love
said
it.
how much they put into the movie and the
Yeah.
anticipation of waiting so long for
Oh,
it to come
that's
out.
reminds me. Is people are complaining about her being Israeli. I don't have a problem with
What the
this.
fuck does that have to do with
I
anything? If
think
anything,
this
that
is
makes her
hold
more
on.
badass. She was in the Israeli
Well,
army.
hold on. I think this is stupid. Here. So in the scene that she saves the children in the middle of the road,
Yeah.
they think because she mentioned in like 2014, she came out and supported the Israeli army, which hello,
Because she was
we're in
part of it.
America, which all these Americans, and I'm hypocritical because I'm a part of this. You have people support our troops. Well, she came out in support of her country's troops. Well,
Mm-hmm.
they're complaining that she saved a bunch of Arab children on the street. And having been deployed, I can tell you straight up, there are 12-year-olds that were driving vehicles going 100 miles an hour. There are children playing in the road. And so
Mm-hmm.
this scene had no problem with me because it's realistic.
That makes it
But
sadder.
people had issues that like she's Israeli and like they got to go to Cairo and do this, and I'm like that's stupid.
Well, those are people looking for issues that aren't
People just
there.
cancel culture, yes, and they
Right.
just got to find issues. I didn't have a problem with it, but that was a big issue in the movie, and they've been sitting on this movie for a year and a half. They could have churched it up a little bit, and I'm hoping that Cheetah comes back in the third movie because I really think that I think there's
Potential.
something here. There was
Yeah.
something here with Maxwell Lord who let his son just do whatever, and then there was a potential with Cheetah, but we never got that.
Honest, honestly, if the very end scene had not basically been like recant your wish, I would have. But the thing is, I knew they weren't going to kill him because he had a kid.
Right.
So as soon as I realized they're not going to kill him, they're not going to end him because he has a kid, I knew it wasn't going to end well.
He
And
they should
that was
Cheetah fight him though. Like Cheetah should have been working under Maxwell Lord under mind control to fight Wonder Woman. That could have been like the big fight. Maxwell Lord makes everybody recant their wish. The Dreamstone disappears. Blah blah blah. But
but
just
just
like telling everybody that like this isn't the truth. The truth is this, and you need to lie. And it was why.
it
I
was just not good. If the ending
no.
hadn't been so fucking cheesy, she didn't even fight in the end. She literally sat there
She sat
and
there.
like
Agreed.
told
And I have a
everybody
problem with
else
that.
to
It's Wonder
recant their
Woman, who's like
wish.
the most badass woman ever, and she kicks a lot of ass.
She's like, let's talk
She
about our
mentions
problems.
she mentions in
No.
Batman v Superman that she's fought gods before, but yet the last two movies you don't see a lot. Yes, Wonder Woman 1 she fights a god Ares. Wonder Woman 2 she doesn't. She sits on her
Mm-mm.
ass.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I
She
take a problem
talks
with
to a
that.
god.
She talks to a god, which had they
Right.
gone with his telepathic persuasion, there's a lot more there. And so I have a lot of that's yeah. The movie wasn't great. Am I gonna watch it again? I watched half of it last night again, but I fell asleep, and so I'm not gonna watch it again. I don't like this movie. I don't. It's not a
No,
good
I'd
movie.
rather watch Wonder Woman 1 again.
Wonder
Hell,
Woman
I'd rather
1.
watch Batman vs Superman again. Because I haven't watched it in a long time.
Ooh, I never hit a girl, but no, I'm just kidding. Anyways, Batman v Superman. I saw that movie at midnight, just so you know.
Honestly, I saw that movie. I wouldn't even pay to see it. My brother-in-law got it for me. I watched the bootleg version. So maybe if I watch the non-bootleg version, hearing him scream Martha won't sound so bad.
It's not, no, because when he's saying Martha, he doesn't understand. Like his mother's name is also Martha. Like both their moms' names are Martha.
What does that have to do with anything, though?
Because he's like, save Martha.
So if one
he's
name
like,
was Martha
why?
and
What?
okay, first of all, who calls their mom by their first name? No, that makes no sense. People.
Well, my wife calls her mom Barbara Jean.
No, nobody does that.
Look, the movie's not as bad. Watch it again on HBO Max, please. Oh, can we do a commentary? We should do a commentary over Batman v Superman.
Oh, they don't have the thing though.
No, but we can still do it at the same time and record us.
We'll have to figure that out.
I think we should do a commentary. We should do a Disney Plus one of Iron Man 1. And then we should do some Marvel ones, and then we should also do a commentary.
We should do the worst Marvel ones, like Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3. Iron Man 2 is the worst MCU movie ever.
No, we should actually. That's what we should do for like Patreons. If you're listening to this and you haven't, Patreon, we do have a Patreon. It's under the Hops News because we're kind of a broadcast network. Go search patreon.com/Hops News, and it gets you into our special Facebook group. And then we also do like beer trades, stickers, koozies, other things. But I think we should do some commentary tracks for the Patreon. That's what I think.
Who wouldn't want to hear us commentary on?
It's basically we're gonna commentate and shit on and joke about some stupid ass movies, but I think that's what we should do.
Right. We also have fun facts.
We do have fun facts, but I think we should do that. That should be what we should do. Anyways, Wonder Woman 2, not great. Go watch it. Formulate your own opinion. I'm all about, if a movie sucks, I want to know people's personal opinions, because if a movie sucks, I'm still going to watch it. So I want to know your personal opinions. Next week with Cobra Kai, season 3 is out. So we're going to Cobra Kai never die. So we're going to
strike first. No mercy.
We are going to talk about the first 2 seasons of Cobra Kai. We're going to bring on Robbie.
No, we're going to talk about the first 3.
Oh, okay. First 3. I'm not going to be able to watch the entire.
Season 3 comes out.
I can't watch the entire season of Cobra Kai that fast.
You're going to have quite a few days to watch 10 episodes that are half-hour long.
I wish Cobra Kai came out this past week because I've been off for 3 or 4 days. I could have watched it. But yes,
you'll be fine.
We're going to talk Cobra Kai season 1, 2, and 3. We're going to bring on a Patreon who was one of my greatest friends who I've known for 20 years almost. Robbie Fulham. He's going to come on. He's going to talk with us. And so if you haven't seen the show yet, watch it. Let us know what you liked. Let us know what you didn't like. And that's all we got. Catch us on Hops Geek News on the Instagram, Hops News on your streaming, your YouTube, blah, blah, blah. And slide into our DMs. We're posting crazy pictures every day. Crazy. The best pictures. It's huge. Just trust me, it's huge. And other than that, I have no parting shots. You got anything left to say besides you drank your barbarian because you're drinking something else?
Yep.
All right.
Actually, I think there's a little bit left in there. There's poquito.
Well, cheers, everybody, to 2020. Cheers.
Cheers.
This has been a Hops News production. You can find Hops News on all your favorite podcasts and social media platforms at Hops News. Cheers.